Good evening, Valpo, and welcome back to another League cast. I'm your first caster, Monsieur, and joined with me in the booth is,
Henry Speedy Kill Ninja.
and with introductions out of the way, Valpo and Indiana Tech both already on their way with their pick and bans. We are seeing a Leeson, Thresh, and Lysandra ban from Valpo Esports, and Indiana Tech responding with a Syndra, Ziggs, and one more. What do we think we're gonna?
So we see Valpo on blue side for almost all of their games this year. Heading into this match, Valpo is 2-1 in the Great Lakes Esports Conference. Indiana Tech is 3-0. It's probably one of the strongest opponents we'll face in the regular season. Top laner for Indiana Tech is ITKCBO. In the jungle, Bandit Boy. In the mid, Ping. In the bot, Raid Boss. And then as support is Noxy. Last season ranks, we got a Emerald top laner who is currently Diamond 4, Master Jungle, Master Mid, Emerald Bot, and Plat support. So a very strong team, probably going to be most scared of that jungler, and you do see that Nocturne locked in R1 for Indiana Tech. Very scary jungler to play against, not only his ultimate, but also can be very strong, a lot of damage as well.
As I say, we noticed in the last game, the game last night, we saw when the Hecarim was able to get ahead, Hecarim became an absolute monster as soon as he started getting a few kills. And Nocturne is pretty much the same way. If Nocturne's able to start getting a lead, it's so easy for a Nocturne to start snowballing in 1v3 and 1v4, and he finds ult and finds someone that's slightly out of place. They're dead before they even know it. So Valpo is going to be very careful not to overextend with the Nocturne, especially once level 6 hits.
Absolutely. And we will see the B1 Jinx from Valpo, a very strong, comfortable pick for Diadem. And then we will see the Viego picked up by Super Bear in the jungle. Really like this pick, something he's very comfortable, confident on, and also kind of has a very heavy outplay potential too in team fights if he can find those resets. B3, probably expecting to see, oh wow, going to pick up the Ahri, so we only had one mid laner ban against Jakimbo in the first round, so has a champion available there. He feels comfortable blinding and picks it up.
We'll see how Indiana Tech responds. I do know that Jakimbo's kind of plethora of champions are always something to kind of boggles the mind, but we are going to see the hover, the Orianna pick for Indiana Tech again. Really really solid pick in terms of that crowd control, especially with a really well placed ball ultimate. It can really cause a lot of damage and can really force Valpo to be in some choke points that they might not otherwise. But I would say Ezreal and Nocturne don't have the ability too much to follow up on that specifically, so we'll have to see what the rest of Indiana Tech picks to probably synergize into that Oriana.
Yeah, did want to make an apology. Made a quick little mishap on this part of Indiana Tech's roster. Their mid laner is actually Emerald. Their support is a master player. So I really like, with that in mind, I really like this Oriana pick because it's a very safe character that can kind of sit back, get experience, get gold. If you're in Indiana Tech, like there's not really any reason to like play an aggressive mid laner and go for something risky. Against Jakimbo, he's been in this league for 5 years or entering his fifth year. And players know his skill level and what he's capable of doing in these games. So some safe picks in the mid lane there.
And I was going to say, with safe picks, it does seem that Indiana Tech is just going to continue to kind of knock out some of the just strong safe picks. The Aatrox and the Poppy both being banned. Dreadful's Aatrox has been shown on stream this past year as pretty scary, and Poppy overall just is probably one of the strongest characters baseline in the game. Just good to see that ban too.
Yeah. Valpo is kind of looking for a frontliner engage. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Rel or Rakan picked up by the law here in support. And we will see this Gnar. We saw the Gnar in NECC late last night around 11:30 p.m. Had a lot of great plays. Most specifically, he had that TP bot play where he was able to flash in, find a triple kill there. So really like this, going with a confident, strong pick in lane. Can do a lot of bullying against that Gragas. So I love that pick. And looking at support, once again, I want to see some sort of tanky engage, and that's exactly what we're going to see with an Alistair. Not quite locked in yet. Would be okay also with a Rel or a Rakan. But yeah, that Alistair has a little more beef to it when you go in as well. So
It can ensure that ensure that Alistar can peel for the Jinx, just allowing her once she
yeah,
starts getting her gets excited stacks. It's
yeah,
basically over.
especially with that Nocturne, like Jinx is going to need some sort of peel. I mean, Ari has a lot of self peel with Charm, with her 3 dashes, with Flash. Jinx really only has like Flash and then, if applicable, Cleanse or Barrier as well. And we will see a quite surprising hover here in Nico. Haven't seen Nico in a couple patches here since the new season is out, but it will be locked in. So, I'm expecting it to be a Nico support, Gragas top, Ori mid, Nocturne jungle, Ezreal bot. Yeah, Nico support is a very interesting pick. Thoughts on that one?
I was gonna say, if Valpo's able to communicate effectively and clearly about where that Nico is, it's
Yep.
kind of like a Shaco. If Valpo's having good comps and good pings, Nico is not really gonna be able to do too much because again, her half of her thing is just being able to not to be where you least expect her, either a fourth minion in a wave, an extra raptor. And so seeing it from Indiana Tech, especially in such high levels of play where both teams kind of had this expectation that you're playing to your best, interesting pick from the Nico, but definitely a good synergy with that Oriana.
Yeah, I mean, this is a matchup that, looking ahead into the playoffs could be like a semifinal, could be a finals match. So this is like a really big like regular season match that I'm sure lots of teams are going to have their eyes on. But like you said, when you see that Nico locked in, like immediately you're thinking, okay, I got to play on my toes. I got to be very aware, cognizant of where this Nico is because she can be minion, she can be blast plant, she can be anything. Like uh, I've even seen like one of those mini raptors too, because a lot of junglers like to start raptors now. So they'll go like raptors get kind of low, and then she'll throw out her stun and kill them with ignite. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa. But yeah, so draft is finished up. As far as this draft, who do you think is favored here? Whether it's lanes to look at, early game, late game, which team scales better, things like that.
I mean, I definitely think that mid lane is always a lane to look out for, especially when you see Super Bear and Jakimbo. I would say if Valpo is able to keep the Nocturne in check, Valpo I would say has a really strong ability to be able to have a game going a bit later, and Nocturne just isn't going to be able to do much other than just give that CC. And when you have 5 people in a call, the ability of the hindrance of the lack of sight really doesn't do as much as if you're playing in like normal
Yeah.
draft solo queue.
Vision is going to be super important this game with the Nico, with that Nocturne, because Nocturne can gank from like half the map away, kind of like Zach. You got to have those wards deep, be fully set up for an objective. As far as lanes to watch, I'd like to see this top lane Gnar again. You see Dreadful, who has been doing phenomenal in his new role of top this year, facing off against probably the best top laner he's played all season. So really excited to see how that goes. But yeah, and also Diadem getting that Jinx. We've seen it banned away a lot of times with Valpo being blue side and that B1 Jinx being a very strong pick. But anyways, we will take a short break for spectator delay, and we will be right back with game one. And welcome back to game one of Valpo Esports versus Indiana Tech. Hopping into this one, Valpo will be blue side. We see it, all five of them grouping together here, going to head to this Raptors. Maybe going to catch out Indiana Tech. They are doing a good job of 5-pointing. You do see that Nico with that Nocturne as well. But yeah, switching into the different characters there.
Gotta have that fun with Nico.
Yeah. Based off this early positioning from Nico, it looks like they're up to some shenanigans. I mean, they're standing in the lane right now, so I'm not like too sure. But I mean, that could be a very high risk, high reward play if they decide to kind of go for a early game play. But it looks like they're just going to be in the bot lane here. Valpo going for the 5-stack, not going to find any action there, and we will have Super Bear starting on blue side and Nocturne starting on his red.
So a fun potential around 3:30 to see a good a potential 3v3 in the bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as fight over Scuttle, Nocturne probably wins that in the early game, especially. He doesn't have lethal tempo. He has
Conqueror.
Conquer. I was gonna say Conquer, but for some reason that didn't sound right. But yeah, lethal tempo's back. We do see Jinx with lethal tempo. That's one of my favorite runes. As far as runes, we do see Grasp from Dreadful, Phase Rush from top. Everything else very standard. Yeah, nothing too exciting.
So. It's always the start of the just
yeah.
It's just trading pleasantries with each other. Both.
As far as items go, Dorns across the board do have that Dorns ring from Gragas. Gragas is probably the only one who could opt for a Dorn shield instead of Dorns ring if they so choose with that early game poke. As well as Dreadful going for that shield instead of Blade as well. Once again, kind of just depends what you prefer. If you want to do a little bit more damage or have a little bit more defense. But we do see bot lane getting the first shove for the side of Indiana Tech, so hitting that level 2 first, and Valpo going to have to back off.
Yeah, he's going to force to be a little... Valpo does have to force to be a little more careful here, especially the Law did get hit with that first Q, and we do...
Oh, that's going to be a lot of damage. Great trade. Barrier. Going to let him live there, but he's got to back up quick. Good W by the Alistair. I mean, he's... I would presume have to give up this wave. Yeah, I mean, you want to probably shoot a W for the cannon if possible. Yeah, not going to get it. I think with VA, knowing Viego's there, that's a situation where you can maybe use your Q rockets or W. Bit with Ezreal having flash and then that E cooldown coming up eventually. Got to be very careful for that long range Q, which would have killed.
Yeah, and especially when you're playing in this level, a lot of times you can think to just go in and believe that anything you can take a bad trade, but
yeah,
Diadem knowing that, don't push the luck.
And I mean, what you're going to see here is Valpo had to lose Prow early game with the Jinx back, so Indiana Tech will be in position for this. Ezreal did opt to back as well. Mid-Proud to the side of Indiana Tech, so Valpo going to have to give up that boss scuttle. We'll see what Viego decides to do if he decides to recall. Go to the top scuttle here. Looks like he's going to just head straight to the top scuttle while Nocturne is back in.
Super Bear might look like Super Bear is gonna stop the recall of the Nocturne, slowing down any potential resets for a little bit. We do see the IT is pinging.
Oh, there's no wards down here for the side of Valpo, and they're going to be caught here. This is very scary for the side of Valpo. Knowing that the jungler Viego went topside with that Ori Ball Q, and Nocturne going to have a massive flank here on the bot lane as the Director Cam switches over. Going to find the fear on the Jinx. Does have that barrier and flash down, but a great Alistair push into it, and first blood goes to Valpo. Great play by the Law. Only downside here is Diadem is going to be a little bit further behind already than before with experience and gold, but great play by the Law. That was looking like a very bad situation for Valpo, but able to make up for it. Does find the stun, all the abilities down, gets the electrocute mid lane. Great trade mid lane. A lot of action, but like not a lot happening at the same time. A lot of very minor trades. I mean, yeah.
Small things here and there, and I will say, even though we are going to see that Diadem is down in CS, the first blood did actually go to Diadem, it will at least make up evenly for that gold disadvantage. We do see about 12 CS down right now.
Yeah. I mean, when you get two really strong teams facing against each other, it's always these very small advantage that add up and turn into a game. I mean, that's why each CS is so important. Missing a cannon, all these little things are going to add up over time and create a big lead.
As I say, we even see now with kind of trading on both sides, we see that through CS and just kind of even as we see that IT and Valpo are basically they both have made up basically perfectly in terms of gold difference, and with a potential with objectives coming up relatively shortly. We do see the Alistar is in the top lane, probably looking for Valpo to take potential grubs. You
Yep.
see Nocturne clearing the blue side, looking for probably a trade for Chemtech.
So Valpo will send the Alistair up. Not sure if he got spotted on the way up, but will secure grubs. We will see Indiana Tech. Are they going to go for Dragon? Or are they going to make a play diving bot? Looks like they are stacking this wave, but it is a little behind pace. Hopefully Alistair will be back in time. But, you know, I see Jinx with flash down, and I just am terrified of a dive at every moment, especially with Alistair not in lane.
I'm terrified as well, but Nocturne isn't level 6 yet, and Valpo learned their lesson very clearly by having 2 wards up, so at least preventing Nocturne from getting a free roam.
Yep, so just going to be a clean 1-for-1 trade drag. 4-3 Void Grub is going to be a handshake on that one. So...
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and genuinely, as we look for the second drag that'll be up shortly, trading 3 Void Grubs for a first dragon, especially with it being Chemtech, since it's not the soul, not necessarily the worst thing to see if you're a Valpo fan.
Yeah, the big one is going to come on these next spawns. So you see Void Grubs in 3 minutes, Dragon in 5 minutes, so it is staggered. So, I mean, we're going to see the next big fight in that 3 minutes when the Void Grubs come up. Because I know you've mentioned it on several broadcasts. A lot of people prefer the 6 Void Grubs over the 2 Dragons for the trade. As far as 3-for-1, I mean, it's whatever. So it'll be very interesting to see what Valpo decides to do to try and secure that 6 Void Grubs.
As I said, we do see Ezreal getting level 6 first. His ult not necessarily doing a lot of damage, but again, definitely can still be scary. And I was gonna say, and with that being said, Alistar does have to be very careful now about how he chooses the back so he doesn't get hit by the Ezreal ult.
Backs up just far enough. I like Ezreal dropping out of vision there to send that ult, but the Law, smart player, knew it was coming, backed very far up, able to avoid that one. And we are still dead even in gold, 12.3 to 12.3, as we do look at the specific matchups in gold. Top lane for Valpo, just a tad ahead. Even in jungle, mid just a tad ahead, and then bot decently heavily favored for the side of Indiana Tech, like we talked about, some of those missed waves starting to add up here to a 17 CS differential while the waves are even. So once you get to that like 20 CS mark, it's usually equivalent to a goal, but we will see our first Nocturne ult with an Ori ultimate onto that Nocturne. When we were in draft, I was not thinking about that combo, but very strong. Jikimbo able to flash out of that one and had to burn ultimate as well. So great play by Indiana Tech. Luckily, Jikimbo still had their summoners up. Got to be careful because that flash is going to be down before the... or that flash will be down while the next rotation of ultimates will still be up. So going to have to play very careful for the next 5 minutes.
As I say, again... Jikimbo taking the ultimate trade, definitely not what you want to see. We do see light scuffle happening, the Law getting caught, being out slightly, but again, Alistar, even though at this point not even building any armor items, but still just not taking a lot of damage. We see Gragas and Dreadful just kind of exchanging some pleasantries. It does look like Nico's going to at least try to slow off the Law, preventing that back again. We do see Grubs are up in 45. Alistar might be looking for potential back to be able to head up there.
Yep. CS lead maintain in top and mid for Valpo and maintain in bot side for Indiana Tech. And it is starting to grow, but we do have a wave pushing in here, so we'll even add 4 to Valpo's side there. But gold still relatively even, slightly favored by a couple hundred to Indiana Tech. Pretty soon here, Void Grubs will be up in 15 seconds, so we do see Alistair taking that back and walking up to the Void Grubs. And it looks like Indiana Tech is going to opt for a dive here, pushing this Jinx off of the wave, off of the turret. So this is going to be more lost XP and gold for Diadem. In return, Valpo will get these 6 Void Grubs, which will stay with them for the rest of the game. Oh, and luckily Valpo able to catch the rest of that wave, which is pretty huge. And with no Dragon being up, this is definitely going to be a net win for Valpo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, watching. Oh, we are gonna see Diadem and Jikimbo going, and we see the Nico ult. And the barrier coming from the Ezreal, and Nico is going to find the purchase on to the Ahri. Diadem does have to play safe. Diadem does have to play with spacing here, but Ezreal is low. We do see that another ball ultimate come out from Nocturne and Ori, finding purchase onto Super Bear. And unfortunately, it's a very net negative trade for Valpa for that fight.
Yeah. Were Valpo able to secure the 6 Void Grubs there? I didn't
Yes.
quite.
In that, yeah. Valpa was able to secure the 6 point.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
So definitely being strong. Oh, that was so close from Jinx hitting that just a quarter second earlier, and it would have prevented it. Also, yeah, fun tip for those who don't know. For a recall, if you take damage within the last quarter second of your recall animation, it will allow the animation to still go through.
Yep.
So you really have 7 3/4 of a second. It doesn't sound like a lot, but there's been a lot of games where you can see that extra quarter of a second really could have mattered for someone getting in or out.
Yeah, a game that can last 45 minutes, it's crazy how much a quarter of a second can matter, but it really does, and also can be quite tilting when a player gets that back off.
Or when they're unable to.
Yeah, that too.
We are going to see Gragas is going to continue to be pushing Dreadful's wave up slightly, but Dreadful is still up about 10 CS. We do see that the Meganar form has been popped, so we'll have to be down for a little bit. We do see that it is going to be a 4-4 with a potential full team fight happening around the second dragon. Dreadful and Gragas both having Unleashed TP up to join the fight if needed.
Yeah, one thing I want to see from Valpo in the next minute, 30 seconds, is get these plates while they're up. That's going to be their chance to even out this gold lead. I wouldn't hate it if Valpo gives up this dragon for maybe some top plates, some mid plates, but they only got a minute left before those plates fall, and the 6 Void Grubs is just a little less valuable.
As I say, Gragas is gonna find his back in Valpo's jungle. We do see that Ahri does know that Orianna's in the bush and does chunk Jakimbo does chunk Ahri to about 60% health. Jakimbo just not at a point quite yet where one full combo fully melts.
Yep, proccing that electrocute going to do a little bit more damage. One thing that is of note is when you get those 6 Void Grubs and you're not able to get as many plates, like it's not as but we're going to see a big dive here. We got double TPs coming in. Both of them going to be from the mid laners here. Will Jakimbo be able to stop this dive? And Indiana Tech going to stop. We do see the flash.
And a defensive ult that turned into an offensive ult. A lot of ults being burned here on both sides. It does look like Diadem is going to get caught out, but other than that, Valpo being able to mitigate the losses pretty significantly.
Yeah, so we did see that Orianna and Nocturne ult combo there again, and we will see Nor getting Gragas very low, but not able to find the kill on that one.
And with that being said, it does look like it'll probably be the end of Valpo's tier 1 bot side turret, but Dreadful is going to force Gragas to take it back with some significant damage being done by Dreadful to top tier 1 turret.
Yep. Fortunately, not able to find first turret here, but looks like they will be able to pick up this turret even with Nocturne here. So.
Yep, Nocturne's there, but again, with so many, with 4 ults being used at that bot side, there's no ults to be able to for Nocturne to find that purchase.
So Valpo going to pick up this Rift Herald. I mean, they got all this value. They just really need to be able to cash in on it with those turrets. They got the Rift Herald. They got 6 Void Grubs. Really great to have, but if you're not able to find the turrets, find the places and pressure to get that gold, I mean, you're not going to be able to cash in on this advantage. So Valpo down about 2k now from the kill deficit there, but definitely have an opportunity to catch back up very quickly.
I was gonna say in terms of looking at the gold and CS difference again on everyone, we see that Dreadful's up 500 gold in the top lane, Super Bear up about 150, Dreadful or Jakimbo down just about 200. Diadem is where most of the gold deficit for Valpo is at about 1800. And then Nico actually having 900 additional gold over the Alistar. Again, support gold is not as important, but once you start getting a lot, you can start telling what support is able to have just a lot more impact.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, Valpo with the slight advantage in most lanes, it's just that bot lane is such a significant lead.
Cool. And we are gonna see the ultimate does find purchase on to Super Bear, and with Jakimbo using ult to escape. Nocturne ulted and he didn't have full knowledge of where he was going. The Ezreal ult not being able to find purchase on Jakimbo, and that is gonna be now just a purely that positive gain for Valpo.
Yeah, for some reason, I just like when I see like team fights happen, I just like watch instead of live commentating. So
It's always so cool to watch the team fights.
yeah, first broadcast for me this year, so bear with me. Unfortunately, Vector couldn't join us tonight. But anyways, great kill by Viego. Super important for him to get some gold income, get a little bit of a lead, because that Viego can be very dangerous in team fights if he's able to find kills and resets.
That's to say, being able to negate the abilities, and we do see that Viego is looking for maybe a potential 2-on-3, not being able to find anything, but definitely again forcing the comms. I have noticed though, we were talking about the Nico earlier. While the Nico started to get some kills, I haven't really seen anything like crazy out of Nico that I would kind of be expecting if I was looking at a game like this.
Yeah, I mean, we do see in bot lane we saw 2 Nico ultimates that were pretty impactful in the fight. We just don't see like the patented Nico like play style, like what Nico likes to do in solo queue. But I mean that root and that ultimate going to be pretty darn strong in team fights. So
yeah, again, especially with the Nocturne into Ori and the Gragas, that all combo can really keep people CC'd for a few seconds. And again, while games go on for 30, 40, 50 minutes, 3 seconds of crowd control always feels like it's about a year with the crowd control whenever you're playing.
And another 5 minutes has passed, and Soul Point Dragon will be up. It is Mountain Soul this game, so providing extra defense for a team that is able to claim it. So this is something Valpo doesn't want to give up. So those first 2 dragons, okay to trade for it. But Indiana Tech unfortunately has positioning here, and they will find that Nocturne Oriole with the Ezreal over the top and the Nico all going to do a ton of damage. Valpo hasn't dropped yet. Will Viego be able to find the resets, able to get one onto the Gragas, but Valpo has 2 members down with that Gnar and Alistair. Oh, and the ult gets blocked by the Nocturne. We will see another reset. Oh, and that auto will do it! Oh, he took the turret shot before he did it. So it will be a 4-for-3 for the side of Indiana Tech, but we are still going. Do have the Ahri ultimate. Oh, and the fear is going to do it. So it will be an ace for the side of Indiana Tech. A extremely, extremely strong start to the fight. We saw the Nocturne Oriole combo for the 3rd time this game with the Nico ultimate over the top, the Ezreal ult hitting all those rooted champions. Somehow Valpo was able to find a couple kills there, and we will see a TP from Dreadful.
And Gragas.
Yep.
So...
And, don't have Mega Gnar charged up here, so I doubt they're going to be able to contest anything, especially with Jungler coming from base. But we'll see what Valpo decides to do here. I mean, I think the only thing you can do is give over the dragon.
Definitely unfortunate if you're a Valpo fan. Both TPs being used by the top winners, again, just kind of going to continue to slow the game down a little bit. We do see that Baron is up in 45 seconds for either team's taking. Obviously, Valpo, you're never going to say no to a Baron, but Valpo now does have to start playing a little bit more careful, especially since there was a decent bit of gold exchange that headed to both teams in that fight.
Yeah, so Indiana Tech going to be up 2k gold, but got to also consider the stat value from those 3 dragons. So probably looking at 3 to 4k here. We'll have this ripped pop mid lane. They really want to take this tier 1, but they're probably not going to be able to do it because they can't get those autos down. Don't have the vision control to be able to walk up safely for that one. And I'm glad they didn't with the Nocturne up ult with Orianna standing in that bottom side mid. And we will see the Nocturne ult and Ori ult again. Jinx just a little bit too far up. Nico ultimate over the top. And the Law will also go down. Survived forever with all that tankiness from the Alistair ultimate. And Indiana Tech will eye up Baron here. Going to at least get positioning and vision for it.
As I say, I didn't... Super Bear, it does extend too far. We do see Dreadful's Mega Gnar is about to be up. It's going to probably look for...
Flashes and goes for the ultimate, gets feared, and that's going to be another member dropping for Valpo. Just a little too ambitious there going in at a 5v3 scenario. Indiana Tech, I don't think they were ever actually considering starting the Baron. They were just looking for another pick.
and they were unfortunately able to get it. I was going to say, looking at the kills across the board, Ezreal is becoming extremely scary. If you're a Valpo fan, being 6 kills up, almost has now completed a third item, while Diadem only has first item and basically half built.
Yeah, another thing that doesn't get talked enough on the broadcast is vision. We saw in the Dragon fight, Indiana Tech had full vision setup, had the River Proud, but we do see a little fight here. Not able to find the kill just yet. We'll see if Ari dashes in for a Q. Not able to, but Jinx goes down again. Alistair going to flash out of there, probably will end up falling, but able to live with the charm. Nice charm from Jakimbo. But what I was going to talk about, so that vision setup in the bot side, super important for the side of Indiana Tech because they were able to make that play with all that vision. Nocturne can only ult you if he has vision on you. And then we saw that vision control in the side of Baron, so Valpo, they really want to face check because they don't want to give a free Baron. And with that pressure from not knowing what they're doing, they have to face check and end up dying for it. So a lot of these success from the fight comes from the vision and the setup around it. So Valpo going to need to do a better job of setting up before objectives. And when you look at the vision score, you can kind of see how that happens there. I mean, Indiana Tech up in vision score about every lane except for mid, and then jungle is even. But anyways, Indiana Tech going to be up about 5-6k gold here with objective bounties coming up. Do still have those 6 void grubs, so finding the turret could be super valuable here as those turrets now have a bounty on them. But not looking great so far for Valpo.
No, I was going to say you were speaking about it perfectly, and an apology I made on the cast earlier is I was kind of questioning a little bit the Orianna into the Nocturne, and I completely realized that if Orianna's been able to ball Nocturne, and then as Nocturne is going in, will pop the ultimate on the ball as it's so far overextended.
We're gonna see it every single time. I didn't realize we were gonna see it until I saw it the first time. I'm like, oh, damn. That was the thought process. So the players obviously a step ahead of us in the booth here, which is why we're sitting here right now.
There's a reason why I'm casting over here, and you don't hear Jakimbo over the comms here.
Yeah. One thing that is great about casting these games is you don't get to see the fog of war. Like, you get to see the full view of what the other team's thinking as well. So hopefully when our players go back and watch game 1 of this series, they can maybe think about this vision, which I know it's tough to set up vision too when you're behind. So it's easier said than done for sure.
Yeah, League is always a game of easier said than done.
Yeah.
Oh, just CS better, get more vision, comm better.
Yeah.
And whenever that happens in practice, it miraculously always feels a lot harder than it needs to be.
Yep.
So we are gonna see Jakimbo trying to find purchase with the ultimate, not being able to find anything. And once again we see the ball pick go off, or the Nico pick not being able to find anyone, nor the Ezreal. But the problem is at this point the Ezreal is just so strong that not necessarily needing to find anyone just does so much damage. We're gonna see Super Bear does get a kill on the Nico, but unfortunately just is too low, and Dreadful in the Law just not close enough to be able to assist.
Yeah. And we see the Meganar coming up a little late in that fight, unfortunate. It looked like, funny enough, the Law was actually trying to set up vision for this soul point, and wasn't able to do it and gets picked off, and then Valpo loses the team fight 4v5 because they're at numbers disadvantage. So, it feels like you can't win.
It's aggravating if you're a Valpo fan, because there's only so much you can do, and there's always an opportunity to get back when you are behind. Yeah. However, it's the margin of error for you, or as Vector would always like to put it, the troll budget always does get smaller and smaller as the gap widens.
There is 0 troll budget in this series, so Nolan always has a troll budget. He always finds the reserves for it, but my book, 0 troll budget for this team tonight.
Unfortunately, yeah. If you're a Valpo fan, no troll budget.
Yep.
But also, yeah, Valpo continuing, even though that they are down pretty significantly in kills, they are down just about 6,000 gold. Again, a lot, but not necessarily the worst, as you specifically see. 3 out of 4 laners are winning in terms of their CS scores.
Yeah, now if you're Indiana Tech here setting up this vision for this Baron, either going to look for a Baron and a push to end, or they're going to look for a fight into a Baron or end, or just a fight and run straight to the base. Valpo still has those secondary turrets up, though, so we'll see what ends up happening here. But anyways, Valpo definitely in the dark here with all those wards being cleared. Ari trying to pick up this gold bounty in the bot lane here. Don't hate the play. I mean, Valpo not really in a position to contest this Baron. But at the same time, even if they kind of have to contest the Baron, but at the same time, they can't contest the Baron.
Yeah.
So not a great position for Valpo here.
No, we do see that DDM is caught out slightly.
Yep.
The Gragas not finding purchase on anybody.
This is going to be a big fight for Valpo here. We'll see what they're able to do. We do have Mega Gnar just going down. That's going to be bad timing for the Gnar. And they're going to go in for the steal here. Nico Alt going to find 3 on the route. Baron going down. The 50-50 does go to the side of Indiana Tech. Viego with the ultimate, trying to find a reset, won't do it. Ezreal finds the kill there. Nico on Alistair, and it is 5v3. Ezreal going to find one on Jinx, and there goes Nocturne flying in there, and Gnar will go down as well. So the lone survivor of the team fight is Chikimbo for the side of Valpo. And, you know, with this Baron, it is not looking good for Valpo. Ari not with the best wave clear, especially against these Baroned up minions. This will likely be a final push for the side of Indiana Tech, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. We're going to see that. We see the inhibitor and the inhibitor go down relatively fast. It is a slight wave that is pushing in, but again, even a slight wave just does a lot. We do see the law is up with the double knockup.
Ooh, nice flash in knockup.
Again, we're continuing to see the knockups, but we're just not finding enough. And with this being said, we're not going to write it off until the Nexus falls because games can still keep going. Super Fights purchase on the Orianna, but that unfortunately is going to give IT enough time to break our Nexus.
Yep, Super Bear able to find a kill there at the end to give himself a positive KDA, but unfortunately doesn't matter because Valpo doesn't go down in game 1. So Indiana Tech looking like a very strong team here. We do have the Ezreal leading the way, Noxy for Indiana Tech. He did chart that game. So sorry, just doing some production things over here. But anyways, huge thing in that game was the lead that Indiana Tech was able to generate in the bot lane. Not even too much to the fault of Diadem. I mean, the whole team kind of put their effort into that bot lane lean, whether it was the Nocturne pushing them off, the Ori going down there as well, pushing them off turret, off experience, but also some of those early trades forcing out an early back. Not great for the side of Valpo, but there is some hope because we did see a slight lead in the top lane, in the jungle, in the mid lane for Valpo. So if they're able to extend those leads like Indiana Tech was able to do in the bot lane in game 1, I think Valpo still has a chance in this series.
It's never over until it's over. We saw yesterday in the game match that Valpo did start 0-1 in the series and then was able to reverse sweep it. So
yep. Valpo League of Legends likes to make us stay here as late as possible into the next day if possible. So their favorite thing to do is to go to game 3. So I would not be surprised at all if Valpo picks it up here in game 2. Like you've said, we've seen the reverse sweep yesterday, last Tuesday, the first week of GLEC. I think a majority of their games have been reverse sweeps. So yeah, you know, down but not out for sure. But we will take a short break before we head into game 2 of this best of 3 series, and we will be right back. What's up, guys? We are back for game two here. Going to be heading into draft in a couple minutes. What would you like to see in this draft?
I mean, if me personally, I think that while Valpo had a relatively strong draft, I think that they might not have given the jungler as much focus as they needed to, especially on their bans. I know when looking through their OPs at the start, the jungler and the support are their strongest players, and only seeing one ban to the jungler at the start, not kind of showing that full respect.
Yeah.
So I think focusing more on those picks was going to be very important.
Yeah, if I had to pick one position for a top ranked player to be, jungle is by far probably okay, not by far, but it is like a very scary one. Just because junglers have a lot of macro and a lot of playmaking ability, and can impact the whole map is the big thing. They impact objectives, impact every single lane. So having one of their best players, if not their best player in the jungle, is very scary. And we will see the Lee Sin ban. I'm assuming that was probably banned in game one, but also the Nocturne ban um, that we saw played in game one going to be banned as well.
Relatively strong. We also do see the Thresh ban again. I know that that's the supporters been playing it a lot, and Valpo playing the Viego. Indiana Tech wants to have their own taste of the Viego action and will be one pick it.
Yeah, one thing to note is Valpo is on the red side. Very few times have we seen Valpo on the red side in any series this year. So advantages with red side, you get the counter picks and you get that R5 pick, which is super important. Unfortunately, you do give up the B1 pick, and you will see Indiana Tech picking up that Viego, which in the hands of a good player is very scary. We kind of talked about it for Super Bear in game one. But a lot of playmaking ability, specifically with the resets and team fights. And we will see the Kaisa here for Valpo. Would like to see, okay, we're going to see the jungler next. J4. I
Bro,
like this pick if it's locked in for sure.
I was gonna say Valpo always has a way to making the team comps work, and we see J4 as again another one of Super Bear's very comfortable picks. We see Indiana Tech banning Zach both game one and game two, so
Yeah.
seeing the J4 pick
You know what I'm okay. We'll get the Poppy support here. If I was thinking we were gonna get J4 Talia there, but the Poppy kind of threw me off my game.
Me too. I was gonna say they hovered it for so long that I'm like, okay, you're just pick J4.
Yeah, the Law had a extremely good Poppy game. I believe it was last week. I'm not sure if it was in the GLEC or NECC, but he had a couple insane plays. So keep an eye out for that. Really good to see him on that Poppy. A lot of playmaking ability, a lot of CC, a lot of tankiness, and a lot of disengage as well too. With that like anti-dash jump leap thing, and then also her ultimate knocking people away in a team fight can be super important.
Especially if you're gonna get down to a potential jungle smite, being able to ult the Viego away is could be a death sentence to losing an objective. We do see the Lissandra pick from Indiana Tech, pretty interesting pick. A lot of utility with that ult again, being able to lock down a member of either side, either for a good stun or for a good heal. So
Yeah, so going to be looking at a mid or jungle pick here. Going to be interesting to see what they decide to pick here.
Vi's not a bad pick.
Yeah, so we see a lot of single target lockdown from both sides. So the Vi ultimate point and click ability that locks down CCs, punches them up, dunks them down, does a lot of damage. And then we see the Lissandra, once again, another point and click ultimate that does a lot of damage, and CCs one target for a very long period of time. Um, yeah, don't love seeing the Lissandra into Jakimbo just because she can press the R key and Jakimbo's out of the fight for like a
No.
good 2 seconds, or blown up after that. But going into the bans here, um, bans expected to see against Valpo here. We got mid and top lane still available for the side of Valpo.
If Indiana Tech, probably I would have either probably a Camille and maybe a Talia ban. Again, the engage from Lissandra Viego, or I guess Ezreal and Viego could be really strong. We are going to see the Aatrox ban from Indiana Tech. Valpo does have their final ban. We'll find the purchase either in the top or the support lane.
Yeah. And with the mid laner for the side of Indiana Tech already being picked, that means that Dreadful will get that counter pick in R5. So probably going to be a lot of variance in what he decides to play based on what they play. So probably can't get too much into it right now. Aatrox, of course, a great blind pick. Good into a lot of different top laners. Probably the best top laner right now. And that Shen, like seeing that ban. Very tough to play around. Very strong team fighting ultimate ability. And the Hui, one of Jakimbo's signature picks there being banned off. So Indiana Tech definitely did their homework here. 5 great bans in game 1 and 2 for them. Based off our strategy and what we like to play. So
I was gonna say we are gonna see Jakimbo is known for having a few more tricks up his sleeve than the average
yeah,
bear.
Jakimbo can also play like the entire like mid lane roster, so it doesn't like matter too much. But I know he is a fan of the Hui, and we will see the Talia. Something I was expecting to see paired with the J4, but is also really good with Poppy as well. But the Talia with that pick potential, we're starting to see a very strong pick comp for Valpo. All 4 of these champions do really well in picks. And we will see that Nico support. I wasn't a fan. The Nico support did very well for the side of Indiana Tech. So I'm hoping it's on a Nico support.
Then they're Indiana Tech still decide what they want to do, and I don't know how Dreadful feels seeing the Camille on the enemy team. Dreadful loves playing their Camille,
Yeah.
and seeing on the enemy team might have done some more mental damage than anything.
Yeah, Camille, very strong, split pushing character. I wouldn't mind seeing Renata. So a lot of disengage. I mean, the Nico, I just feel like has a little bit more impact in lane. Obviously, the Renata ultimate super strong in team fights, but the Nico is just scary. It's also kind of weird too. Like you're not really too used to playing into it. A couple options here as we see them hovered through. Most likely options I'm thinking could be Garen. Gwen would be interesting. Yeah, I mean a lot of these are not even like in his wheelhouse. So
yeah, I've seen the Heimerdinger pick, and Heimerdinger hurts me. It hurts my soul.
yeah, the further they were clicking through, I was like, okay, yeah, this is probably not going to happen.
You clicked most popular.
The Poppy top. Oh, I didn't even think about it. So Poppy actually does really strong into Camille, completely countering her E ability. I don't know why I wasn't even ready for that. Yeah.
Why we kind of wrote off Poppy top as if it was a thing to even begin with at the start.
Oh, and shout out Jeff Paul for the support in the chat tonight. Jeff Paul, big fan of League of Legends esports at Valpo. Shout out to him. But anyways, that will be the draft for game 2 with a little twist at the end there. Gonna see Dreadful on this Poppy. I haven't seen him play Poppy before, which is why I didn't really register in my head, just because I know the law is so good with Poppy. And that's probably exactly what Indiana Tech was thinking because they picked Camille with the Poppy already locked in. They didn't even like think about it being an option, and we didn't either. So Coach Chase and Dreadful with the biggest twist of all time at the end of draft there. So excited to see how that's going to play out. It is game point for Indiana Tech, a very strong team. So, might as well pull all the tricks out of the hat here in game 2. So
pull on all the stops. As we said earlier, this is going to be one of Valpo's strongest matches, ranked wise, that they are going to have for this entire season. So you got to pull out all the stops for your face against amazing.
This is the most like bamboozled, but also like I've ever like been in a draft.
It's good to be bamboozled in this aspect for Valpo.
Yeah, I don't hate it though. Like I don't hate it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna love it till I see Dreadful in lane because I gotta see it to believe it. But anyways, Valpo with a very interesting team comp here, crafted for them. So excited to see how it's gonna play out in game. But we are unfortunately gonna have to take a quick spectator to delay break before we hop into game 2. But we will be right back in just a few short minutes. And we are back for game 2 of Valpo Esports versus Indiana Tech League of Legends in week 4 or week 5 of the Great Lakes Esports Conference. Man, this season has gone by fast.
Don't be saying that. If you say that a few more times, then we're gonna have to start seeing some graduates
Uh,
soon.
oh no, it's only the fall. It's only the fall. But yeah, halfway through the Great Lakes Esports Conference, after this match for League of Legends, luckily NECC just finished. Is it week 2, week 3?
Yeah, week 3.
Yeah, they're a couple weeks behind. So, but yeah, man, it has flown by. Speaking of, make sure you guys tune in. Thursday at 6 o'clock, we will be featured on the Esports Ustream for a Super Smash Bros. Game. At 9 p.m., we will be streaming Rocket League versus Illinois. And then Friday at 6:30 and 8, we have Overwatch. And no game Saturday this Saturday, with this game being played today and the Smash game getting moved up to Thursday. But yeah, full day tomorrow and Friday as well, so make sure you guys tune in for those. But heading back into this game, lane to watch here is gonna be the top lane.
It does always it throws me off a little bit just seeing Valpo red set. I'm again so used to seeing Valpo blue. We are
Yeah.
gonna see D-Den getting poked out slightly, but again, it's the start of the game. Not too much to see, not too much to talk about. We see both junglers do start the top side, so again, looking around like a 330 scuttle trade between Viego and Vi. Who do you think who has the advantage for that scuttle?
Vi, definitely. But I mean, a lot of it is going to depend on lane prio. In the early game, our bot lane, Valpo's bot lane, should have prio with the Kai'Sa with lethal tempo. Something to note is Ezreal did switch from PTA to Conquer this game. And then Super Bear on the Vi also going Conquer. Has another option to Hail Blades, which is a lot more early game aggressive. But something of note is Viego is definitely at a way faster pace in this clear, as Vi just finished their 3rd camp and Viego just finished their 4th.
But there might be a reason for that slightly slow, as we see
Unfortunate.
Vi trying to find purchase on the Lissandra and not being able to get anything of substance out of that.
Yeah, got to find the knockup or the Q hit when the before the E, but unfortunately wasn't able to do it. It's hard to time it up. Lissandra has very good mobility with that E ability, unless if they're able to find that stun CC lock. But anyways, Viego opts for the 5 camp, going to look for maybe, I don't know, an invade on the Vi. They know where she is. This is a great jungle tracking play. Like this a lot. But Vi does win this early game. Valpo just needs to be able to rotate first. We'll have Talia first move from mid lane. Valpo should go in on this, in my opinion. We will see
Valpo
Leona
is
find the
gonna
E.
go in. Jakimbo
Talia
just
gonna do a lot of
doesn't-
damage.
Jakimbo just doesn't have the gold, and we
Oh,
are gonna
that
see the
reset's gonna
first-
be scary.
But we are gonna see that Viego is gonna miss the reset. But it is getting very messy up. It's getting very messy. If you're a Valpo fan.
Yeah, I mean, and Valpo just misplayed that one. I mean, they definitely had the advantage, but Viego able to find the resets on that one, and that is going to be a huge lead early game for Indiana Tech.
Again, Valpo trying to make the most out of a bad situation, but the problem is you had Jakimbo just didn't have any mana to be able to assist in that engage, and between that you just couldn't. If your mate doesn't have any mana, she can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Valpo had the advantage there. They had first move from mid. We're about even in moves from bot side, but great jungle tracking by Indiana Tech, being aware that he went from mid lane, that he only had 3 camps when looking at the CS counter, so able to catch him on that blue buff. I wonder who that blue buff actually... Okay, so Valpo actually did get the blue buff there. So
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I didn't even remember who it went over to.
Super was able to get that smite successfully.
Unfortunately, Ezreal is the person with the double buffs, though. So Ezreal going to be 2-0 to start out this game, which is not great.
And we are gonna see Jakimbo catching the Viego out slightly. Lissandra does look like she's gonna try to do something. A lot of pings going down, but nothing of purchase being found on them. And again, Viego being forced to take it back. With Dragon beat up and Grubs up in about 35 seconds.
Yeah, so Valpo starting off this game on the back foot, but with these objectives coming up, they're going to have to be proactive and plan their next move. Going to be interested to see what they do. Valpo's bot lane, unfortunately, will have to play a little bit more passive at the beginning of this game, but we do see Camille with the ultimate. Unfortunate here, Poppy does not have their level 6 yet. Oh, and the Camille has to wait out their E ability because Poppy has the
Anti-dash.
Anti-dash ability. Not sure what it's called. But anyways, good engage by Camille, understanding that they had the level advantage there. And we do see that the Void Grubs have spawned as well as Mountain Dragon has spawned.
So we are going to see that it does look it's going to be a trade. We do see that the Vi does come in, finding a knock-up. Valpo trying to see if they can find something, but Renata doing a surprising amount of damage, and Ezreal with the Sheen just doing a lot of damage and able to catch Diadem out, making what did look to be a strong Valpo play into a slightly weaker one.
Yeah, I didn't quite see if Leona missed the E there, but wasn't able to find an engage off of the Vi engage, and with that big wave there, that's going to be unfortunate for Valpo. Kill is going to go over to Renata Glask, though. So I guess small silver lining with that one. Indiana Tech going to have about a 2k gold lead here, 6-7 minutes into the game. Who did the Void Grubs go over to? Yeah, that went over to Indiana Tech, I assume, with that jungle play bot. Super Bear off respawn. Looks like they're going to be heading towards the dragon? Question mark.
Hopefully, but
we'll see. I honestly think Indiana Tech is going to be fine with giving up dragon here. So.
And I was going to say, we are going to see, again, Diadem is going to start taking that slight CS deficit. But again, it's game, even though with more kills going to Indiana Tech, Valpo needs to shake it off and realize that they're still in this to win this. They do not have to be making desperate plays, though, which I think is something that we've been starting to see a little bit, is them making plays that I don't think you have a guaranteed success to work, believing that they have to make it. We are going to see the anti-engage wall from Dreadful come in. Probably not going to be able to get their shield. But we do see that the Renata Glass Q does find the lob, but not a lot of damage coming out from IT.
Yeah, Valpo, in a lot of these series that we've seen on stream so far, when they fall behind in the early game, they have struggled to be able to find a way to come back. But hopefully they're going to have another chance at that today. So we'll see what they're able to do here, what they're able to formulate plan-wise. We do have Indiana Tech making their way into Valpo's jungle again, and this has got to be brutal for Super Bear, going to lose that blue buff. Unless if Leona looks for an engage here. They do have vision on it.
Oh, we might. And
Talia does have ultimate, gonna hop over here, and Indiana Tech might have gone a little too deep there. Unfortunately, Viego will live with the plant there, and Lissandra finding a huge engage with the W and ultimate. Super Bear not able to find the kill on the Viego, and that is going to be another 3-0 for Indiana Tech.
Again, Valpo needing to. We say this, and it was something that we talked about last game. Communicating who they needed to prioritize, because we could have probably Valpo could have easily traded at least one, if not two. But we do see that IT is able to get out with really nothing lost.
Yeah, I mean, once the Viego ulted over the wall, there wasn't really much for them there. And, you know, this Lissandra has been not really on my radar so far this game, but finding an absolutely like massive engage on that with the ultimate on themselves that hit 3 people and the W, rooting them all in their ultimate. So, yeah. I mean, the play looked promising for Valpo, just wasn't able to execute. And Indiana Tech made a great play.
Yep. Valpo will definitely have a lot to VOD review in the coming days to ensure
that. I mean, I think it looked like they were overextending there, and I mean, at some point, you know, when you're behind, you're going to have to force some plays, or you'll just kind of be slowly like squeezed out of the game. Anyways, that true damage on the Poppy going to be a lot. We do see Vi with first rotation here, but Viego is here as well. Does find the stun before the Q goes off. TP comes in, but TP is matched. And this is also not going to be great for Valpo. Lissandra does have ultimate back up here. Probably not going to look for a dive, though. Probably just going to be satisfied with getting these 6 Void Grubs.
As I say, we see some pings going off on the map. Valpo does need to be careful. Poppy again. Poppy can do a lot. We are going to see Poppy, or we are going to see.
Great job by Jakimbo deciding to stay there. Finds the knock-up. Oh, but the Lissandra all going to go invulnerable. Camille will die based off of that, though. And Talia able to clean it up. Pardon me. Dreadful does get the double kill, not Jakimbo. Which actually pretty tough because kills on Talia over Poppy. Yeah, I'd way rather have the kills on the Talia than Poppy. Not like a Dreadful Jakimbo thing, just like the champions themselves. Like Poppy, like with more kills, just gonna be like a little more tankier and do a little more damage. Where Jakimbo can like one-shot people if he like has a lead.
But we will say though, again, when you're Valpo, taking 2 kills is better than not having any kills from that.
2 for 1, big though. My bad. I was being a little negative on that play. Valpo did get the 2 for 1 there.
Well, just have to be careful here for the Viego. We do see Super Bear nearby, and while we do see that Lissandra is there. Lissandra doesn't have ult. Ezreal is doing a lot of damage to this tower. Might even be able to find it taken up, but Jakimbo nearly able to find the uprooted earth to be able to. Catch that Ezreal with that.
We do see Indiana Tech playing aggressive in Valpo's blue side jungle again. They are actually behind Valpo here, but Lissandra's coming in as well, so Valpo going to get collapsed on here, and this is very scary. Valpo hopefully will be able to take out the Ezreal first, but doesn't look like it with the barrier and flash being used. And Talia does find the shutdown, but the Renata ult will do a lot there, and that turret is pretty much gone. It's only 1 auto away, so got to be cognizant of that as well. Viego will find the kill on Kaisa. Lissandra picking it up on Vi. Viego on Talia, and this will be a 4 for 1. I was hoping 4 for 2. But the really triple kill for Viego. Don't be fooled by the Talia icon. That is Viego in Talia form.
You'd love to see it on the Talia, and the Talia and Jakimbo was able to find the pick on Ezreal. Not making up for all of it, but starting to get that shutdown gold on Talia. We already saw that even with those 2 assists and able to get a companion, she was able to. Jakimbo as Talia was able to do a pretty insane amount of damage with that combo.
Yeah. So, we're facing a team of great caliber here, down 6K gold at 13 minutes. What can Valpo do here? Because I don't really see what's the win con for Valpo. I don't really see a pathway for it, unfortunately. I mean, they are playing a pick comp, so maybe finding big shutdowns in having a numbers advantage, using that Vial, using the Leona engage, Poppy getting that stun. I mean, they're gonna have to play for picks. I think that's the only way back into this game. Find a pick, get a big shutdown. And you're gonna have to do that several times, but
I mean, I think it again in terms of like champion itself, funneling the gold into the Talia, I think is just gonna. If you can funnel some kills into Talia, that would start spelling disaster for Indiana Tech.
Unfortunately, I think the Vi is too far behind at this point to be much more than an ultimate ability. And Ezreal going to find the ultimate ability on the Kaisa there, yeah.
Definitely hurts. We do see it, but again, we are gonna see that Lissandra at this point, even though Lissandra is ahead in terms of kills, one Jakimbo rotation is enough to chunk her to about 40%.
Yeah, as we're looking at the gold lead across the board. Oh, as we do see a fight here break out. Talia ult will come in, knock root under turret. We'll see that Renata Glasscall go over there on Viego. Gonna find the stun. Is he gonna ult forward? No. Too many turret shots there. And we have 2 TPs from the side of Indiana Tech, doubling up that TP. Poppy in here as well. So we got a 5v4 ARAM in the mid lane here. And Viego going to head to that red buff while Camille heads to the bot lane. So a lot of action, but not a lot actually happening in that fight.
It's all the time. A lot of words are spoken, but not a lot of substance actually with those words.
Yeah, but looking at the gold lead, Valpo up in the top lane and then down pretty significantly elsewhere. Yeah. Silver lining of this series, Dreadful has played 2 phenomenal laning phases against this top laner. Looks like Indiana Tech left the Rift Herald there.
They are leaving the Rift Herald. I'm not even. It's pulsing. As we watch the eye disappear into the void, we don't see any pickup. But I think even looking at IT's pings, I don't even think they noticed that they didn't pick it up.
Yeah. So to explain what just happened there to anyone who's not super familiar with League of Legends, when you take the Rift Herald objective, which is the big purple crab-looking thing, you have to pick up its orb so you can use it in a lane. So they, did all the work of killing them, but not picking up the orb. But Valpo going to have an advantage here. And
the bailout.
Yeah, the bailout from the Renata Glass going to keep him alive. But Poppy does find a huge shutdown on the Viego, but ultimately going to be a 4-for-1 for the side of Indiana Tech. But Jakimbo's still here, going to get half health onto this Renata Glass. But yeah, that Renata Glass W, her bailout ability, gives you an extra, split second? Well, I mean, it's a shield running down, but it gives you a little bit extra time when you're at 1 health to get a chance to find a kill. Lysandra will dive in with that root, and Ezreal going to clean up that kill. But anyways, Viego originally died, but Renata Glass was able to keep the Viego alive for a split second. And if you are able to find a kill during that split second, you just are back alive and nothing happens. So with that happening, was able to get the reset, and they were able to win that team fight in a 4-for-1. So.
Yeah, Valpo, the Renata Glass, again, kind of subverting the expectations of the support. We were happy to see the Valpo and kind of happy to see the Renata Glass, but the bailout, it does a significant. The bailout can genuinely save somebody. You can, because again, burst all you want. The burst doesn't go through the bailout damage, and you have about 3 seconds that your health is deteriorating rapidly, and you can still take damage from other sources, but if you're able to find a pick, I think it's 30, maybe 20 or 30% health is where you're at. Again, Valpo's lead is Valpo's gold deficit is growing just almost at about 9.5 thousand. It does look like that Lysandra and Glass are gonna end up taking bottom tier 1 turret. We are gonna see Dreadful trying to prevent being on the grubs, but it is a 4v1 right now. But there is no Rift Herald for IT to use.
Yep.
Which again, if IT had the Rift Herald, I'm pretty sure we would have easily seen a tier 2 top turret crash.
Kimbo will be going for this gold bounty in the bot lane on that turret. But with that top tier 1, we have seen Indiana Tech eclipse that 10k gold lead. I believe in the LCS, when a 10k gold lead occurs, there's a 96% chance win probability. Not sure if that's accurate, but it's pretty darn high. So, but once again, we are in collegiate esports, so the mistakes do happen. And Poppy not able to find the stun against the wall, and Valpo looks like they're overextending here. Just didn't find a great way in. We kind of talked about the way back into this game is picks. And they're kind of going out for full-on traditional team fights. They did have the 5v4 advantage in that one, but that's just not going to work with this item advantage here. But Kaisa does find the shutdown on Lysandra, and Valpo definitely has a good chance of winning this fight.
Valpo does have to be careful, though. There are multiple priorities that are towards Valpo right now. The lot unable to find the final hit to knock down that Camille. Jakimbo is facing against the Viego. Valpo is respawning though, and is starting to find some damage. We do see.
Oh, the Renata Glass Cult for great disengage, but not going to last forever, as Viego is not going to be able to get out of this one, I believe. The Vi able to find the kill, and Valpo going to collapse on these 2 members here. Poppy We're going to get hit by the Renata Glass, but Talia also coming in here as well. We'll have enough mana for a full combo here, and that's going to do it, even with the barrier on Ezreal. Eventually, oh, the bailout, I forgot about it.
Bailout is not going to
Oh, and the shield!
And Super does survive!
Yeah, with the, what's the item? Aegis of the Legion? Or from Leona?
Oh,
that's what it called.
I know it. It's
Locket of the Iron Solari.
Locket. Again, absolutely masterful play by Valpo there. Again, stemming their losses, and it does look like that Valpo is gonna look to start Baron. We do see the TP coming from the Camille for a 3v2. Dreadful does not have his ulti for disengagement. We do see that the Vi is there, ready to look for something. It is a 5v2 right now. Diadem is extremely low. We do see that the engage does go by Leona.
Oh, nice pick here. Talia finding the shutdown on Camille. Valpo almost dying to the Baron, yet does get a kill going over to the Baron there. Lysandra going to hop in, going to find a quadra kill. Going to be low here, probably not going to be able to find the Penta unless if it's spoon-fed to him. Viego going to go down on Jakimbo. Jakimbo going to find a kill on Viego. Looks like they're just trying to give it over to Lysandra. Jakimbo getting 2 shutdowns off of that, and then getting shut down himself. So yeah, I mean, even though it's a 5 or 3, a lot of those shutdowns going over to Valpo are going to help out. And we do see Indiana Tech heading over to the Dragon will only be Soul Point.
Soul Point, yeah.
So not terrible. I mean, you're going to have to give it, obviously, because you can't contest at this moment. But Soul Point, not the end of the world. That Baron is still alive. So Valpo, I really like. I mean, we talked about this like 10, 15 minutes ago. That, you know, you're going to have to make riskier plays to come back in a certain area like this. So I do not hate them starting up the Baron here, going for these picks, going for these fights. I mean, that's the only way to come back in this kind of game. We'll have those super minions funneling a little more gold into the side of Valpo in exchange for some additional pressure on their base. But at this point, I mean, I don't mind the extra gold. So
the extra gold is needed for Valpo again. While Valpo was at about a 13,000 gold deficit, they are now back down to just about 10. Again, still a lot of gold to be down, but you definitely, if you can start making up for it a little bit, it's not that bad.
And what is huge too is a lot of that gold at this point has gone over to Jakimbo, a lot of those shutdowns. So we'll be doing a lot of damage now. And Vi going to find the ultimate, that Renata Glass ultimate, unfortunately, will have Diadem and attacking his own team. Viego will kill the Vi. Leona finding the kill on Ezreal. Vi finding the kill on Kaisa. Double kill for Vi there. For Viego in Vi form. And a double kill for the Law. A triple kill for the Law. I don't know how he's finding the last hits on this one. And there is absolutely no way that Valpo just won this team fight. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know how that happened. And we see a triple kill going to Aemon and a double kill going to Dreadful.
I am really confused. Valpo really should have lost that team fight. I was looking more at the kill feed than what was actually happening. There's zero way Valpo should have won that team fight.
That's also going to have to be a VOD review, but this is in the best way possible for Valpo.
So, Valpo obviously would have had to play that perfectly, but without a couple errors from Indiana Tech, they don't win that team fight. I mean, there is zero logical reason they should have won that. They're going to get the Baron and the gold bounty off of that. So Valpo, a non-zero chance of winning this game at this point.
Valpo's now up to just under a 7,000 gold lead. And again...
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe this game hasn't ended yet. They're still alive.
Whenever you're playing League, whenever you are cheering for your team at all, it is never over until the Nexus is broken.
Yeah, sorry, I got this monotone voice, like pessimistic, but it's just because I'm like so emotionally invested in this series.
I know,
and I'm like, disappointed about some of the plays I've seen. But Valpo doing a great job of fighting back, not shutting down. They're making good plays. They're making the plays they have to make. Unfortunately, Vi does get picked there in their own jungle. Honestly, not worth that much gold at this point, so not terrible. I mean, Vi is, has their jungle item at this point, which is huge, which can be very difficult to do when your jungle is kind of owned by the other team. But I mean, at this point, we've seen Vi with a couple of huge ultimates in team fights, and that's going to be the value he's that's going to be the best thing he can do for this team in the situation he's in right now.
And we are going to see, even though Dreadful is in the top, Dreadful does have the Fimbulwinter. We also do see the Spirit Visage.
Yeah, Vi back up now, so we'll have that ultimate
And we
ability.
are going to see,
Great engage.
Jakimbo walling behind, preventing
Bail
a
out.
disengage.
Yeah, Ezreal was playing extremely far up there, and Vi finding the double kill onto Lissandra, so going to have some gold income for Vi there. Going to be able to start building some real items here. Just huge mistake by Indiana Tech's Ezreal there. Keep in mind, Valpo has Baron for this, so they're going to be able to get a lot off of those 2 kills. Likely 2 mid turrets.
Two, at least 1, probably 2. We do see that the Camille is coming in. Camille does have ultimate, so that can be
Yeah, got to be very careful. You know, either Indiana Tech overcommits. Okay, looks like Camille's not going to go for the flank here, or maybe waiting for Lissandra to come up. Oh, wait. Oh, Lissandra doesn't have TP.
But Valpo does need to be careful.
Oh, they're going for a 3rd turret here. Wow. And Vi going in too deep, but the players are respawned now, so going to have to back up ASAP. And they're going to have to try and reset before this dragon comes up. Indiana Tech has got to be going in here. Lissandra trailing behind, does have that E in the ultimate, does have flash and teleport down, so not able to find the flank. And Valpo backing up just at the perfect time. So, I mean, they're going to have to get their resets in right away. But they do have vision positioning. They're able to find the pick on the Renata Glass. This is exactly what you need to do as a pick comp. You need to have vision control. They have River Prime. We do see Camille going in here. We'll see a couple backs, probably for Jakimbo with that teleport up. Unfortunately, Dreadful still has about 20-30 seconds on that teleport, and this is Soul, so Valpo needs to secure this dragon. We do see Lissandra lurking on the backside here. They will go in on the wall here. Lissandra going to have an absolutely massive engage here, but Kaisa finding a double kill somehow, some way, and a great ultimate by Vi, going to find the kill on Ezreal. I can't believe it.
Diadem is holding his own and showing that again. While it's
you got to be careful here for Diadem. But the stun doesn't hit.
The stun doesn't hit. Viego has the ult to get out. However, the Law does have to back in order to push off that wave. We are going to see some more damage being done to Valpo's Nexus turrets, but trading a 3 for Dragon for nothing. Valpo has less than a 3,000 gold deficit over IT, which is absolutely amazing. Watching Valpo being able to start clawing their way back, and it is now truly anyone's game.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. This is insane.
We are watching Valpo truly, I would say.
This is by far the biggest comeback in League of Legends if they're able to pull this off. Definitely in Valpo program history. Not sure about the conference gold deficit history. But yeah, this is pretty darn insane. And we did see Kaisa pick up a couple kills there, so is going to complete their 3rd item. Jakimbo having a lot of damage as well on board. And Vi, definitely a real champion at this point. No BM to Super Bear, but their gold income was not great. And we do see Indiana Tech looking for a pick here, not able to find it. Renata Glassgull will only hit 2. Do have the TP coming in. Camille on the side here a little bit. Nothing will end up happening there. That was a little bit of a scary position for Valpo. Looks like they're going to reset here. Next objective up is Baron in 1 minute. Valpo setting up vision for that now. We see Vi in there. Super important with this comp is to set up, have that vision so they're able to make those pick plays. Because, no matter how far you're behind, if you're able to get a Talia knockup or Vild on someone, I mean, they're going to die.
Yeah, or all of the above. Even the and I genuinely think we were writing off the Dreadful gold as not impactful enough.
Yeah.
Because the ability for Dreadful to have been tanky has been something that's been absolutely huge for Valpo. Truly being able just to see and show that being able to survive a little bit longer, getting a few extra stuns has been exactly what Valpo has needed in order to be securing the victory in at least a few of these team fights.
Anyways, Valpo at a 3k gold deficit still. Going to be eyeing up this Baron in 10 seconds. Valpo definitely having the momentum on their side at this point, though.
And we see Renata Glass pinging the ultimate. All is almost off cooldown. Still does need to find purchase. Dreadful is a little bit above. We do see Sargent get some damage on onto Jakimbo, but we also do see Diadem doing a good chunk of damage towards the Viego. Hitting the second W, again, just continuing the chunk of the
Yep.
Viego.
And they're going to have full prio and vision for this Baron, so it looks like they're just going to start it up and force Indiana Tech to go there. But they will set up the bush here. Oh, and the Ezreal, it's going to spot him out, unfortunately.
Not the biggest thing to see if you're a Valpo fan. We are going to see that enhanced scuttle does get popped.
Oh, Jakimbo pretty darn low here. Got to be careful. At this point, pretty important that Indiana Tech has mid-prow, forcing Valpo to back here. They just decide, we don't need the Baron. We're just going to go for the base. Valpo in a tricky spot here. I don't love their positioning right now. Not a whole lot they can do about it. Viego is cut off, though, so might have a 5v4. Viego going to come in late, though. Probably just look for a cleanup kill. Leonel going to find one. Lysandra going to have to ult herself here. And they do find the kill on the Renata Glass, but Viego kills the Vi and gets the reset on that one. Oh, and Viego going to find another reset, and this is not looking great for Valpo in this fight, but Kaisa does find the kill on the Sandra. Poppy does get the stun there on the Viego, but Viego going to find another reset, and that is going to be a clean ace for Indiana Tech, and that will be the game. That's tough.
That hurts to see if you're a Valpo fan. Valpo genuinely being able to... Valpo keeping it until the very last second.
Yeah, great game, great fight by Valpo. We saw absolutely zero way back into this game, but Valpo was able to put up a fighting chance. Hats off to the team. Yes, they lost, but the way they played that second game, we've seen a couple times in scrimmages, in games. At the beginning of the game, they've had unfortunate mistakes, mishaps. Things go south, and they've kind of shut down or, not communicated as well. But clearly, through this gameplay, they were like, you know what, this is game 2. Like, we're on game point. Like, okay, what do we do now? Like, what's our next play? What's next? Mental game, very strong for Valpo here. So at least got to be proud of that. What are your thoughts?
I was to say, even though this does end in an 0-2 in the series versus IU, again, Valpo showing that and reminding everyone that the game's not over until it's over. And I say it all the time as a player myself and as a caster. If you believe that the game is over, the game is over. If you believe that there's still fight left in you, we had 2 absolutely amazing team fights where Valpo was able to show and Valpo was able to see at the peak of where they were performing. I think this fight against IU, while it was a loss on paper, is really going to show Valpo that they know when it gets serious, they can do what it takes to start clawing their way back. They just have to figure out what motivated them in about that 27-minute window, and be able to hone in on that for the rest of these games in GLEC and NECC.
Yeah, but anyways, that is going to do it for us in the booth tonight. Indiana Tech winning 2-0 over Valpo. Valpo dropping to 2-2 in the Great Lakes Esports Conference while staying 2-0 in the NECC. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Rocket League and then Friday for Varsity and Academy Overwatch. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.
Go Beacons.